If you've landed here on this video on YouTube, it's likely you're looking for real, practical, relevant information on this vehicle behind me here, the 2013 Toyota Prius C. Perhaps you're in the market for one. Maybe you just bought one and you like to justify your own purchase by, watching videos about it. Whatever it might be, I need to give you a disclaimer. I'm Greg Cavanaugh with the Gallup Journey Magazine, and I do this from the point of view of an amateur, a car enthusiast. I'm not a professional. I'm no corporate shill. I don't attend press events. So if you are looking for the video that's going to give you every single nuance in the most polished fashion about this vehicle, this isn't the video for you. If you want to see every single detail as it relates to the brochure you get at the dealership, read, verbatim, not going to happen. However, if you want to, like I said, get some real and practical information that's most likely relevant to you, then keep watching, stick around for the next couple minutes, and leave some comments below. So I told you I'd give you some practical and relevant information. I think this is one of the important areas of this car. Now, Toyota bills this car as a city car, probably for singles or couples with no kids. I'm none of those things. I'm not single. I'm married with 2 kids, family of 4. I don't live in an urban city. I'm no hipster. So does this apply to me? Does it apply to you? Let's take a look. First of all, you can clearly see this is not that big. I brought along a few items to give you some frame of reference. So, average size cooler here, case of beer in there, or organic soda or whatever you're going to drink. Get about 3 of those across there. Okay, hipsters. The guitar case. Not going to happen. You can see it's just not that wide of a cargo area. I asked my wife, I said, could we get our groceries back here if you also had the kids with you in the back seat? She says no. And really, that is the key difference here. If you're expecting to put your family of 4 in here and go on a road trip for a few thousand miles, you better be packing really lightly. Now, if you are a single person or you don't have kids, that whole back seat is storage, and of course those seats flip down and give you quite a bit of storage. So that's going to be something for you to weigh. Now, for me personally, something I thought was kind of cool is I went back here to check out the battery. What? The battery's made of styrofoam? It's not. This is the spare tire. The battery on this has been shrunk and become so small, they're able to put it actually up front in the engine compartment. So you get a decent sized spare there with no battery intrusion in the way. Kind of cool. Here in the back seat, I'm sitting behind myself. You can see I have quite a bit of knee room, leg room, room under the seat for my feet, and I'm about 5'8", so that would give you some frame of reference. Headroom's fine for me here, but right next to me where this handle is, I'm very close to that. It's very narrow. Now, anybody obviously over 6 foot is going to be hurting back here. Now, I'm also including some pictures here of my family in this back seat, my kids in their car seat. You can see there's very little room between those 2 car seats. So if you live out of state from your family and your grandma comes to visit and you think you can just squeeze her between those car seats for a quick run to the nearby restaurant, not going to happen. Also, if you want to have 3 abreast back here because you have 5 people or whatever, you can see it's going to be very uncomfortable, borderline punishment for that middle person. Seeing the C-Max in person, there's really no doubt that the profile, the silhouette of this car is an economy car. It looks like many other things out on the road. In fact, when I showed up at the dealership, I thought I was looking at a Yaris. Now, let me tell you this right away, though. The biggest change you could make to give this car a little bit of more class or appeal on the exterior is to upgrade the wheels. These small wheels with the wheel covers, they scream economy car. Now, Toyota does have some optional 16-inchers that look pretty good, or of course you could go to the aftermarket. But that's going to be my first recommendation right away if you want to kind of give this car a little bit nicer, more upscale look. Now, Toyota's done some things that help in that factor as well. Up top here on the roof, you have some real nice sculpting. It's kind of cool. It flows nicely into this rear spoiler. It's not too big, too ostentatious. According to Toyota, it adds with aerodynamics, as do these little canards here on the lights. Little tweaks like that, Toyota always claims add to their efficiency levels, their drag coefficients. The lights back here are quite big. They don't look terrible though. In fact, the whole back end looks pretty good, except that it's a bit squat. Now that's to give it the shape they need for aerodynamics, but of course that gives you kind of bad sight lines out the back. That's as opposed to the front here. Here in the front, the windows are quite big. You even have this Honda Fit C-Max light up front here under the A-pillar. Nice big view out the windshield, and there's a low dash on the inside. So the sight lines out the front and the sides are quite good. Back here, you do have this kind of Pontiac Vibe style glass here, which I never really liked. Some of you might like it, some of you might not. It's supposed to make it a little more sporty. Up front, you have fairly bejeweled headlights. Those add a little bit of class, as do the driving lights. And of course, at the very front on the nose, you've got your Toyota badge with your blue hue to remind people, hey, you know, I care about the planet. So, how does it drive? Let's get this thing on the road. Up front here in the Prius C is a good place to be. What I like about it is, since it's a smaller car compared to the 3rd gen Prius, the interior is much less intrusive. That 3rd gen Prius has that big center console. Here, you have a small center console, it's out of the way, you have a traditional gear selector, you have the dashboard is up front, it's small, and it makes it a little more airy in here. It's got lots and lots of useful cubbies and nooks. That's great. You are going to end up with some of the same types of Toyota things. Of course, you have your freakishly large, cartoonish buttons and knobs. I mean, look at the size of this temperature control here. Oddly, on the stock radio, you have the big buttons with huge text and then these teeny knobs, which are kind of hard to use. Up top, you have the same displays as you're going to get in the 3rd gen Prius, where you have multiple displays in your gauge cluster showing you how you're using fuel, if you're using battery, how much battery you have, all of those types of things to help you improve your fuel economy to the max. Here in the center console, you also have your EV mode button, which I've said before is, in my opinion, completely useless. I've yet to get it to work for me. Maybe you've had different experiences. And you have your eco mode button, which allows you to adjust, basically it adjusts your throttle tip in to make you drive more efficiently. You're not slamming on the gas as much. So let's talk powertrain. Prius C uses a downsized version of the hybrid Synergy drive for, you know, maximum fuel economy, that 50 mile per gallon combined estimate, EPA rating. Now, it gets 53 in the city, which compared to the 3rd gen Prius is, you know, it's 50 and 50. Here you get a little bit better mileage in the city at the price of a little bit less fuel economy on the highway. I need to say this, though, and this is really what matters. In small displacement 4-cylinders in compact cars, electric motors do wonders for the powertrain. With that instant torque down low, especially in kind of the standing start to, say, 25 to 30 mile an hour range, it feels peppy and it gives you that urban scoot that you need. Now, if you need to accelerate and start going up a steep hill, you're going to have the engine kick in. It's going to be that CVT drone where also it's at max RPMs even though you're barely moving. But as a whole, that works in this car, and it obviously yields massive, impressive results for fuel economy. Some people are getting 60s or better by babying this thing. Really, the Prius C is about price more than anything. At around $21,000 compared to a 3rd gen Prius at about $25,000, you're getting into a high efficiency, high gas mileage vehicle for $3,000 to $4,000 less than a typical Toyota, and of course it's still a Toyota. Now, if you want to compare it to a standard compact car that's getting you mileage in your 30s, you know, it's $2,000 to $3,000 more. So that's something you're going to need to weigh in terms of your driving habits. But frankly, to get a car with this kind of tech and this kind of mileage for about $20,000 to $21,000, I think it's pretty cool and it works pretty well. I want to give a special thanks to Amigo Toyota for letting me drive their only Prius C on the lot. Thanks for watching. Again, leave your comments and questions below. Subscribe, pass this on, social media, you know what to do. Thanks for watching.